Jordan, why don't you kick us off today by telling us exactly what the Unified Development Ordinance is?
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate the introduction. And we'll get into talking a little bit about the Unified Development Ordinance. But what it's a part of, that's the regulations specifically that fall under the larger plan of the Charlotte 2040 vision plan that the City Council and other city officials set up over the last several years. Now, the actual regulation piece of that has to do with land and zoning is the Unified Development Ordinance. What the Unified Development Ordinance is a way to regulate zoning and land development throughout the city in various ways. And what we're specifically going to talk about with regard to how it affects Charlotteans is the zoning and regulations as it pertains to single family housing. And so what's so helpful but also somewhat controversial about this, Jim, is that the UDO is meant to increase density, help with sustainability, and help with affordability. So there's a lot of things about it that are helpful because as the city grows, we need that. We need greater density. However, where the rub is with what has traditionally been known as single-family home neighborhoods or lots, meaning lots that have specifically one home on them. Now, because of the new UDO and the way it operates and the new zoning that can take place, is you can take a single-family house lot, let's just call it a 1/4 of an acre lot, and you can put either a duplex on it with 2 dwelling units or a triplex, 3 different dwelling units. They can be connected or not. But the point is that this can change the very makeup of a lot of traditional neighborhoods that we know of in Charlotte.
Jordan, can you give us a couple of examples where we're seeing this play out?
So to further go into the Unified Development Ordinance, there's a lot of different ways that we can talk about it. Just one other small one is it has to do with zoning. It has to do with streets and sidewalks. It has to do even with trees and vegetation to be able to maintain the tree canopy in the city. So there's a lot of different ways we can go with it, but we'll try to keep it precise with neighborhoods and such like that. So I want to give an example. With this new UDO, there is a neighborhood about 2 miles south of Cotswold, I'm not going to say any names, where they're currently having the UDO come up. Someone wants to do development in that neighborhood, and the neighborhood has covenants and restrictions to be able to maintain the integrity of the neighborhood being solely single-family homes rather than having the ability of somebody to come in there and develop duplexes or triplexes. In this South Charlotte neighborhood, again, about 2 miles south of Cotswold, there are deed restrictions in this neighborhood that prohibit someone building multiple homes on a single family lot right now. However, there's a developer that is trying to build multiple homes on a single lot. Where this becomes an issue is you've got the covenants and deed restrictions that say you can only have one house on a lot, right? However, where the hiccup is if that developer has title insurance, then they're going to be able to fight that covenants and restrictions that the neighborhood is putting forth a lot more aggressively and with deeper pockets from the title company. So I want to point that out. And then the other thing is that's so important for these neighborhoods as the Unified Development Ordinance is taking effect is that if you live in one of these neighborhoods where you really want to maintain the essence of that neighborhood being, let's just say for this example, single family homes on single lots, it's very important that you take action on the first developer that comes into that neighborhood trying to develop something. Otherwise, if they're able to do it, then that sets precedent. And then moving forward, you're not going to have a legal leg to stand on in a lot of regards, I think, to be able to fight that. Or at least it will be more of an uphill battle. And Jim, I believe you have an example of somebody you know that's personally dealt with this themselves.
Yes, I do. It's actually a couple I know very well. So they had purchased a lot in Myers Park, and that lot has deed restrictions as well that had more restrictive side setbacks than what the city zoning requirements are, as far as basically how far off the property line the house has to be. But numerous times and this was in the early 2000s, numerous times before they constructed a home, people had violated those side setbacks because folks have been carving up lots in Myers Park, making them smaller and smaller, and making it challenging to build a big house on a small piece of property. So this particular couple, they designed their house in order to get what they wanted on the lot. It was going to encroach into the side setbacks as specified in the deed restrictions. However, it was going to comply with the city's side setbacks. So recognizing that, they went to their neighbors, they went to the homeowners association, and all of those people verbally signed off on it. They started construction, and I mean, they were well in that. The house had been fully framed, and one of the next door neighbors decides to sue. And then the homeowners association joined that suit. So their title insurance covered this action. The couple who were building the house, their title insurance covered this action, and they went to, I think it was arbitration. It's either arbitration or mediation, and that couple won at arbitration or mediation. However, the plaintiffs were still not happy and not satisfied, and so they said, "Look, we're still gonna pursue this in court." So the couple decided, we don't want to tie this process up in the construction of our new home for years. So their title insurance company actually paid to demolish the house and get it back to the point that it was, but where it was compliant with those more restrictive side setbacks. So that may seem like an extreme example, but it is real. It happened in Charlotte, and what we think is that we're going to see more of this, because of the fact that people are going to be trying to build out some of these traditional single-family lots and put duplexes or triplexes. But I do want to say one thing: we are not providing legal advice here today. We're talking about the things that can happen. It's certainly possible, if a developer or a builder gets title insurance, that it's going to have an exception to the policy that won't cover this. Jordan, is there anything else that you want to add?
I think what I would add, just in conclusion right now, the Unified Development Ordinance, this is a massive 650-page document, and it's been consolidated from 8 different 1,000-page documents. That's why it's the Unified Development Ordinance. Is that there's a lot of nuance in this document, and we're only talking about one small piece of it. We're going to try to bring you more information and maybe an expert or two on here to talk about it specifically, but it's very nuanced. My wife and I, we recently just purchased a house, and this is a part of it. We took down a few trees to be able to level out the backyard. By virtue of that, because of the UDO, we had to buy a permit to do so, and then we had to replant some trees because part of that UDO is to maintain the tree canopy of Charlotte. So all that to say, very nuanced, lots of aspects to it, but we're going to continue to try to bring you information on it and keep you informed as a Charlottean. And we just want to say thanks for stopping in, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you love the content that we're making here. Thanks so much. Bye.